Akash says, hello, I am Akash from India. Hello, dear. I have a girlfriend in a relationship. We both make mistake, but when it's her mistake, she never accepts it. And it's like I have to say sorry for everything. Well, join the club. That's how it is. So what? So you say sorry. It's okay. If her expectations is just limited to you being saying you're sorry, that's an equitable trade. Otherwise, you know that she's got so many other wonderful things that she's offering you: her friendship, her bonding with you, interactions, and so on. So you say you're sorry. It doesn't matter. That's what you're supposed to. You are supposed to get up every day when you see her. Before anything else, just say, I'm sorry, dear. And she says, why? You say, well, because I know sometime I must have done something yesterday that I forgot to apologize for it. So every time you see her, say, good morning, darling, I'm sorry. Then that takes care of the pressure for the day. But on a serious note, that is not your problem, that she doesn't want to take responsibility for her own actions or mistakes. That is probably because she has a different image of herself in her own mind than the image that you have of her, and she wants to have a certain kind of a interaction with you based on her expectations of the image she has created of herself in her mind, meaning her ego is pretty big. If she doesn't take responsibility for her own mistakes, that is one of the things that you may want to talk with her. You say, look, we are trying to bond on consciousness level, and I'm willing to apologize for the mistakes I make. If I made you uncomfortable or insulted you, I stand for it and I make it up for you, and I want to tell you that I want to have a positive interaction with you. But at the same time, tell her that I am also the same as you. We're both human beings. We have certain expectations, certain ego, and certain conditioning. And what makes you uncomfortable also makes me uncomfortable. What makes you happy also makes me happy. These are what humans have in common with each other. So if you feel that you need somebody to apologize to you for some reason to make you feel good, be sure that I also feel the same. I also want a certain kind of a responsibility that you would take for the mistakes you make. It doesn't make sense that all the mistakes coming from me. If that's the case, you would never want to be with me. If I'm so bad that make mistake all the time and it's always my fault, then perhaps it's a wrong choice you've made. But if you think that you want to be with me, which means there must be, I'm not that bad, and therefore the times that is not, a misunderstanding is not my fault, I would like you to show a certain maturity and own it up like me. And apologizing to me doesn't make me bigger than you. It just makes you so mature that you're willing to work things out. Perhaps she thinks apology from her side means that she's lowering herself. And depending what culture you come from, usually in cultures such as maybe Iran or Pakistan or India or I don't know, other places in the world, that women are not always been given their full right, and they've been robbed from their rightful rights. They don't feel comfortable to say I'm sorry, because they feel that they will be coming even lower, because in such countries man is usually having the higher hand, or at least it seems that way, and women are usually legally and are being deprived from their legal rights. So therefore they have this resistance and a phobia about saying I'm sorry, because that could mean that they're actually becoming allowing more submissiveness, that the man would think that they're taking responsibility for something they should. They just don't want to apologize because they feel they've already been done wrong so much. So sometimes that might come into to play, and even though they feel that it was their mistake, but they don't want to say I'm sorry because they're angry about the whole way that they've been treated as they were growing up. So with someone who's close to them, like their boyfriend, they want to feel protected, and they want him to take the responsibilities of things that go wrong, because they don't want to be they feel like if they would add more towards giving you rights to think that they're not equal to you, And so you may want to discuss this with her and make sure that you will not make that mistake. You will treat them properly. You will respect them properly, and to make them feel comfortable to say I'm sorry to you, not as a submissive way of I'm sorry. Women don't like to say I'm sorry because they've been done wrong a lot. I'm not saying every woman is right. No, they do lots of wrong things themselves. We know, everybody knows that. But in your case, you have to be understanding where the roots of it comes from and be tolerant. So say I'm sorry. I know it's not that pleasant. Just constantly feel like you have to. Also, it's the other way around if it is correct too. Remember, and there's also the other side of the story, that women are so in demand and everybody is enthused to get to know them, and there's so many men who want to approach women for right or wrong reasons, but the numbers of men wanting to get to know a woman is a lot more than number of women who wants to know a certain man. So because of that, women feel empowered as well, and therefore they don't easily want to take responsibility for their mistakes. They don't want to apologize because they say, if this one doesn't comply to my wishes, so I get rid of him, there's another one, because they're all lining up. And lo and behold, they don't realize that the ones who are lining up may just be interested in their physical appearance, and they may not be the good match and proper people to feel comfortable with and treat them correctly and love them, respect them, and want to be partners. But that's the illusion that in some parts of the world women have, that the more I get attention, the more valuable I am. And that would sometimes cause them to be very tough-headed and don't even want to take responsibility for their own actions or mentality, and always consider that that's their right to do whatever the heck it is that they want to do. But if the same thing is done by their boyfriend, they want to cut his head. So these are some things that perhaps through a discussion you can open it up together, and together discuss about it and find out the roots of where this conditioning, where this way of thinking, what does it have to do with the society, the community, the customs and cultures and religions possibly. Discuss it together and figure it out. Otherwise, you cannot dominate her and she cannot dominate you. You just have to become more tolerant and respectful to each other, to each other's right and to yourselves, and then deal with it that way and solve it together. It's not one-way street. Together. Communication will make things much easier.